currently am an investigator, a private investigator. I live in the airport, being a hybrid athlete, focusing on sustainability. Fitness has not always been part of my lifestyle. I was letting myself go. The doctor said, if you want to see your third decade, you have to change. You only got one life to live. It's a humbling experience. Sleep is good, y'all. I've done a marathon. 26.2 miles is no easy feat. I hit my mental wall at 22 miles. I could feel my whole body shaking.
I've cried during every single marathon.
You have two decisions to make: quit or you push through. Open to doing another marathon.
It'll be great.
It'll be fine.
26.2, a podcast powered by Drip. Hi everyone, welcome to 26.2. My name is Karishma and I'm the founder and CEO of Drip, and I'm here with a close friend, Everett, to talk about his fitness journey. Everett, would love for you to introduce yourself.
Hi guys, Everett, as Karishma just said, we've known each other for a little over 10 years or so. Longer? Oh my gosh, it's been a while. Currently reside in Chicago. I've been here for quite some time, originally from Southern Florida. And yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, glad to dive into your fitness story.
Let's do it.
Awesome. Talk to me about your upbringing. You said you were from Florida originally. What brought you to Chicago and what was it like growing up?
Yeah, growing up as an Asian American in Southern Florida is quite interesting. The community is quite small, so I really leaned on my family to really kind of learn your values, kind of just how you grow to be as an adult. But what really brought me to Chicago is college, really, school. I'm a graduate of Loyola University. Shout out to Ramblers. Sure, they appreciate that. But yeah, really school and friends is what brought me to Chicago. I have some family here as well. And yeah, I just really fell in love with the city.
Yeah. What did you study at Loyola, too, when you started out and moved here?
Yeah, when I first entered higher ed, in college, I studied, well, interestingly enough, I was meant to go into healthcare. Parents are in healthcare, and was pre-med. So I studied biomedical sciences and I minored in psychology. But I've always thought of my life as a pivoting, a constant pivot, and I redirected and I ended up graduating with political science and international relations studies with a minor in psychology. So quite a difference in what my trajectory was initially, but I'm happy where I'm at today.
That's awesome. And that is such a massive pivot. What are you doing today? And what kind of career path did you go in? Political science? So
I was in a pre-law track when I was in college, thinking maybe pursuing something in the legal field. Not quite sure where that's going to lead out. Like I said, life for me is a pivotal moment of at any corner. And so, but now, currently in the last few years, I currently work at a law firm based in Chicago. We have offices nationwide, but I currently am an investigator, a private investigator, in fact. And so, again, when people think of private investigator, think of CSI and CSI Miami and New York and Los Angeles. And, it's fair to say, I'm sure Hollywood makes a lot of money in that realm. I am not one. It's a little different in terms of the actual investigating that I do, but it's still quite an adventure to be on.
Yeah. What does a day in the life look like with whatever you're comfortable sharing professionally?
Yeah. In terms of, a lot of in the field that I'm in as a private investigator, I deal with a lot of civil litigation, specifically with product liability and mass tort. So I deal from a wide range of, from service summons for a specific witness or client to, like I said, product liability with cancer, with asbestos, with trades. I don't know, in terms of the audience, the Midwest was a bulk load of tradesmen that worked in steel mills and pipe fitters and insulators. So a lot of them were exposed to asbestos at the time in the early 50s, 60s, 70s, even up to as early as the 80s and 90s. Asbestos was not regulated, and it really affected a lot of those blue-collared workers to develop a cancerous disease. And so I've done cases like that, many cases like that I've been fortunate to be able to assist in finding justice for those families and their loved ones. But yeah, in terms of a day in the life, it varies. I am on the road all the time. Yeah. So other than my own apartment, you know this, I live in the airport quite often. And it goes from really early days to really late nights, and sometimes weekends are lost. But I take comfort in loving my career and hoping to see where it goes.
That's awesome. It's a lot though. Mm-hmm. How do you separate it from life, if you do? And I can imagine this job can be very emotionally taxing. Mm-hmm. What are your kind of forms of coping with stress that you've developed?
Yeah, great question. Coping with stress varies depending on the season that I'm in. I'm very good at compartmentalizing, so I take pride in that. But dealing with stress, especially with traveling, is what I do, is really focusing and leaning on my fitness and healthy active living. I think a lot of people have various types of coping with stress. Yeah. Whether it's running or walking or swimming, and that's great. And a lot of people do other things such as CrossFit and bodybuilding and Olympic powerlifting. That's awesome. I see my outlet in terms of coping with stress as being a hybrid athlete, and my personal main goal is really focusing on sustainability and intent in my fitness lifestyle versus a specific niche. So I kind of do a holistic angle, which allows me to kind of be more versatile in my activities, whether it's running a marathon or powerlifting. So yeah, I would say describe my fitness lifestyle as more of a hybrid purview.
So many follow-ups on that.
Yeah. Please. We've got time.
How did you start? How were you, was fitness always such a big part of your life? I know I said this, walking up, you're one of the most disciplined friends that I have, on a consistent basis. I feel like you never sleep. You're always, up in the morning, in the gym, doing a workout. So curious if this is always consistent, or if and when you had a turning point that kind of sparked this.
Yeah, I don't know if I've actually really shared this with you, being that we're close friends. Well, first and foremost, thank you for thinking that I am disciplined. I do have my off days, not to be quite transparent, and sleep is good, y'all. So focus on sleep, even though I don't come off as that. But yes, I do get my sleep. But no, fitness has not always been part of my lifestyle. And I have been in sports throughout my life, here and there, kind of dabbled in many of those. But I don't think I've shared this with you. Growing up, I was actually quite on the heavier side. Especially in high school. I really did not care much about my overall health state of being or whatnot. And what I mean by that is I was not caring for my emotional, my mental, or physical state. And it's really for lack of a better term, really let myself go. And I was really at my heaviest in high school. Oh, wow. I was quite, not in the healthy range of that. And so at one point, really, when I was doing my annual physical checkup, I was really told by my doctor up front that if I wanted to see 30, I need to change my lifestyle. And this is how unhealthy I was. I could finish 2-liter Coke bottles in one sitting.
Oh my god!
Those those things, like a Costco or whatever, or Walmart size. Yeah.
I had no idea.
No, I was really close to the high 200s, and I was letting myself go. And so my doctor said, if you want to see your third decade, you have to change your lifestyle. And I was on medication. I was on medication for a long time, and so college is really what really kind of motivated me to find my way, because you only got one life to live, really, and so you're gonna make the best out of it. And even post college is really when I really wanted to get involved in my own health and take back control of that.
Yeah. And what did that look like? Like when you first started out, did you find like a mentor, a trainer? Did you like do it all on your own?
So I started on my own. I remember going to Loyola's recreation gym. But
it's pretty nice now.
It is nice now. When we were there,
it was not nice.
We're aging ourselves. When we were there, it was a construction zone. Yeah. Thanks, Loyola.
With two machines.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And I was not one to. I wouldn't consider myself as someone who was a regular gym goer, so really don't know what to do. So it was a mix of, trial and error.
Yeah.
I was able to finally find the courage post-college, with a little bit of help with the finances, be able to hire a personal trainer. And I was fortunate enough to be able to train under him for a couple years, actually. And learn, the confidence. I think going to the gym is half learning the right equipment and right balance, but also finding yourself and with confidence, but not overfeeding with ego.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you, and it's, like, I love that you talk about that because I feel like it's very underrated, especially for people who want to start working out, start going to the gym too. What are the steps that you took to overcome it? Because even I remember the first time, like, I went into a gym, also at Loyola, when it wasn't nice, but I went in with my friend who was a power lifter, and she was, like, navigating all these, like, machines, taking up all these weights, and I'm like, I don't know what any of this is, too. Yeah. But it helped, like, it was so helpful to have her there with me kind of the first time, and then, you go with a person the first few times, and then you develop your own confidence, too. What was your process?
That's a really good question, because I think when you think of the gym, it's also nerve-wracking, but looking back at it in hindsight, is that our brain is biologically wired for safety.
Yeah.
And so when we are put in an environment or condition that's unfamiliar, we close up and we think of the worst scenario possible. And so I think when you go into the gym, it's a lot of noise and a lot of personal, people at their own levels, and you just naturally tend to compare yourself to those people. But I think when you are able to find someone that you trust and you're able to navigate the gym itself, or not even just the gym, just life in general, you find that confidence that you build, that really everyone is there trying to do the same thing to better themselves. And it's always awkward to ask to say, hey, I don't know how this machine works. Do you mind spotting me? That's how it happened a couple times to me. Like, I felt like I had to do that, and some people have asked me, and I'm more than happy to share or to help out. Also, you don't want to break anything while you're at the gym, because it is, a very dangerous place.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that finding yourself in the gym is a process, and really building that confidence for yourself, that knowing that everyone else around you is also doing the same thing, you're not feeling alone, and so it's a humbling experience. That's how I see it. That was my journey.
I love how you said that too, because like everyone's kind of thinking the same thing. And also, if you're going to the gym, like, you should be really focused on, like, your own kind of, like, fitness, your own workout, too. Because that's what everyone else is probably thinking about.
Exactly.
At the same time.
Yeah.
What is, like, the most challenging way that you've pushed your body in terms of fitness?
Good question. I think I've shared, this story, because I've done a marathon. 26.2 miles, ladies and gentlemen, is no easy feat.
Yeah.
I mean, let alone, like, I feel like doing it when you're actually in the moment is easier than when you're prepping for it.
Yeah.
Because when you're prepping for it, you have enough time to overanalyze, and you ask yourself over and over again, why am I doing this? And so my first marathon was in 2019, and I was part of a faith-based organization that somehow I was, lack of a better term,
accidentally signed up.
Right. I was pressured, but in good intent, and to join the team. And you know what? I look back at it very grateful, because if I wasn't part of that organization, this faith-based organization, I don't think I could have done it, because there were people that were very supportive. But there was a 6-month training program. I had never ran more than a mile or so even before that.
Oh, wow.
Maybe for a warm-up, like on the treadmill, but to like start practicing doing 5Ks and made that easy, and working up to a 10K and then a 15K and all the way up to 20 miles was such a learning experience for my resilience, personal resilience, and patience.
Yeah.
I am not one patient person, to be quite transparent. But when you're dealing with your body and mind, you really have to find some grace and patience towards yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, 26.2 miles is no easy task. So shout out to y'all who do it on a regular basis.
I feel like just anyone who does it though too, because I like that you said it's basically like balancing like both mental fitness and physical fitness.
Absolutely.
I think like you learn so much about yourself training.
Oh yeah.
And then like running the race too, and you did it in Chicago, and I think arguably like it's the best energy. The day with the best energy in Chicago happens to be like Marathon Sunday.
Oh yeah. When I think about it, it's like crystal clear in my mind, the memory.
Yeah.
Every single minute, like the people, the vibe. I mean,
Stranger,
the weather. Yeah, like people yelling your name who no idea. I mean, you'll never probably see them ever again or have a chance to talk to them. Yeah. But to like give them high fives, ring their cowbells, and like encourage you like 1 foot at a time. You're doing great. It's amazing. It's an experience I can't describe. I mean, you probably, you can say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not something you feel every day. That you're running with 50,000 people in Chicago.
Yeah.
And like what, 3 million or whatever or so are cheering you on for 6 hours. Like, oh my gosh.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Did you run it with anyone? And what was like the one moment or two moments that you remember from race day that are still with you? If there were any. Yeah,
so in terms of the first part of your question, yes, I ran with an organization called Team World Vision. Team World Vision's mission is to provide clean water to children and families all over the world, and that was really my main driving force of doing the marathon. If I didn't have a community-based, I don't think I could do it. But being able to not only fundraise for that organization and run with those partners, but finding a higher cause was really important to me. So yeah, I did run with an organization, Team World Vision, 2019. Shout out Team World Vision. Yeah, great organization. They were very supportive. But in terms of the second part of your question, moments. Yeah, the people were like just getting cheered on by name. Like what was really.
You have like a shirt that said Everett.
Yeah, definitely. My shirt. I mean, it was hard to miss. Like bright orange. Like you know what I mean. Like huge letters, Everett, bright orange. People high-fiving you. I mean, during the course, people are giving you food from like pretzels to M&Ms. You're eating because you're burning so much calories in a short amount of time. And so that was awesome. I think one really particular interesting moment for me, which everyone talks about it, when you're training for 26.2 miles, people always take a moment to say that you're going to hit a mental wall. Yeah. And it's going to feel like it's real. And when you're training, you're like, whatever. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I've run 20 miles. I can do another 6 miles. Yeah. And no, if you are doing a marathon and they tell you you're going to hit a mental wall, be prepared that you're going to hit it. And I hit my mental wall at 22 miles. Oh, where I could feel my whole body shaking. My quads are like just like uncontrollably doing its thing. And at that point, you have two decisions to make. You either quit, or you push through 1 foot in front of the other. Yeah. And I think that's where the part of like training and learning more about yourself, where you can trust your body because you worked hard for it. Mm-hmm. Then you just gotta let your mind trick itself. Let your mind follow your body. The confidence in your body and its training. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that was definitely a huge part of my memory with my marathon experience.
Yeah. No, I totally resonate with that. And I think I might have shared this with you in a very comical way.
Yeah.
I've cried during every single marathon I've done.
Oh, I bet.
Physical pain, mental pain.
Yeah.
And then just, like, everything kind of cumulatively. But then at the end, it's, like, this massive release that you have, like, once you actually cross the finish line, you're able to, like, end, too. When you got to that point, like, how important was fuel? So now I want to tie this back into, like, your day-to-day kind of, like, fitness habits, too.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think about fuel? Or how did you during the race? And how do you think about fuel on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, I see my body as the center of all, and this sounds odd, but the center of all actions that I take, all decisions I make. And so feeding my body with the right kind of food, hydrating it into its most pristine level is important to me. I have a personal daily goal of at least drinking 1 gallon of water. I know that sounds insane.
Yeah.
But just to literally this is my 64 daily bottle. I only have to drink 2 of these a day to hit my 128 ounces. And so still working on my second one. But I still have till midnight.
Yeah.
Hydration for my body is important because it allows me to train at its peaks, at its most pristine level, its most peak level. It allows me to recover faster, and it really prevents also injuries of any sorts. And so, like I said, I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm not a power lifter. I would say I'm a hybrid athlete. So choosing small actions of healthy living and healthy choices makes bigger changes. And I see like I said earlier, I see my lifestyle as not as small steps. I choose healthy activities that are sustainable and intentional, not something to work towards burning my body out and quote unquote torturing it. Because it's the only body I've got. So I really focus on mobility and functionality and movement in terms of that, of my daily actions.
That's such a beautiful way of putting it. Just because I think there's, like, so much, like, misinformation out there about, like, the fitness world, and I feel like you'll see things that look like overnight success stories, quote unquote, or just, like, overnight habits that you can build too. But then you're looking at building long-term sustainable health, and not just something that's, like, a quick fix.
Absolutely. Definitely choosing actions that are long-term. Like, I want to be able to still do the same activities that I'm doing at, shout out, I'm almost 30, to when I'm 60 or 80. Like, I want to be able to use this body as long as possible and still enjoy the active living that I'm enjoying now that I'm going to be turning 30. Again, not 30 yet. You know what I mean? Like, this is my only life. The materials that come and go is easy, can be replaced. The monetary things can be replaced, but your physical being that you live with is what's important. And that ties to emotional and mental beings.
Yeah, it's really just, like, looking at health overall, because if you think about it, you can't do anything without health.
Absolutely.
It's, like, the root kind of cause that either, like, makes or breaks other parts of your life, too. Talk to me about tracking now. What do you track when it comes to health? I know you mentioned like hydration and, like, water intake is huge. Doing things sustainably with, like, fuel as well. But are there things that you look at from a day-to-day basis?
In terms of my day-to-day basis is I am fortunate enough to be working with a personal trainer. Shout out to Coach Culver Padilla. Follow him. Also, I work with him and his team. It's called Awaken Gym. And he's an international trainer. He's really opened my mind to focusing on health, not as just a physical being, but looking at it holistically as connecting my physical state to my mental and emotional state, and making it sustainable, making it not a chore to be active, but making it a lifestyle. We track water, hydration, foods. I really try to shy away from processed foods and sugar and salts. Not to say I have step backs here and there, but he always taught me, Coach my coach Culver's taught me that you can enjoy those things.
Yeah.
And again, it may sound cliche, and it's you can enjoy them in moderation.
Yeah.
And so not limiting to yourselves by torturing yourselves that no, you can't eat this because you haven't done your workout, but like kind of intertwining it with your day-to-day, just, you know, showing kindness and compassion towards yourself. So food, sugar, salts is really, and water, what I track. And in terms of just staying active, whether, you know, there are days where I don't want to get up and go to the gym, but maybe a quick 30-45 minute walk or getting some fresh air. And those are all little steps to stay active and maintaining a balanced life, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's all about just like moderation, then just movement too.
Absolutely.
I like how you put that.
Right.
You don't have to do like a heavy weight workout all the time, as
No.
long as you're getting up and just moving your body.
Right. And if you wake up, you want to run a marathon, go for it. I support it. But I may not do that on a day-to-day basis, but we support those who do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll sign up for the next one.
Right.
2024. It'll happen.
I have few texts that I flagged from you.
That's funny.
Yeah.
What's next? Like, what are you looking at? Like, do you set like fitness goals for yourself? And if so, what's like next for the remainder of this year, or even looking at 2024?
I mean, if you think about it, today, we're the last month of December.
Yeah.
And it's always a time, and it's funny you asked that, because my birthday's in a couple weeks. And so the month of December I love, because not only is like, you know, it's Christmas, the holidays are around, it allows me to be the most reflective time of the year.
Yeah.
And I think there was a purpose why my birthday is December. Not only because I'm a Capricorn, shout out to all the Capricorns.
Yeah.
I have a lot of shout outs in this podcast.
I love it. We're going to tag all of them.
Right. But having I guess in my perspective, having my birthday on the end of the year, it allows me to look back at what I've achieved the last 11 or so months. And being able to kind of realign on what the future holds for me. And so, yes, I am open to doing another marathon in 2024, because I love the feeling that I got when I was training, the experience I had during and after. You do really get the runner's high. Like, that's real too.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't really quite as emotional after the marathon. I may have said a few profanity after.
Never doing this again.
Yeah. Like, oh, what the heck am I doing? But no, it was a great time. So yeah, maybe a marathon. You know, there might be some, you know, personal goals in terms of career that I'm looking towards. Yeah. But really just right now I'm in the process of just seeing, kind of reevaluating the opportunities that's going to be coming in the next few months. So see where that goes.
That's awesome. Can't wait to see all of it unfold.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I'm engulfed in anxiety and uncertainty, but we love that.
It'll be great. It'll
be fine.
Just think about it.
I'm trying to learn the don't worry about it, you know, mentality.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, then we'll just pivot.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
That's always been my life motto. We'll pivot.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, this was so much fun.
Likewise, this is great. We could talk for another 2 hours. No, I'm kidding. Other people have got other things to do.
But thanks so much. It was super insightful, and excited to have you on for a future podcast.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Learn more about Drip at dripco.us and follow us on Instagram at dripwearable. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode.